We're gazing at a strikingly beautiful piece of property in Cuddy Valley, located in the Los Padres National Forest and in the San Emigdal Mountains of Southern California, about 80 miles north of Los Angeles. The elevation is 5,400 feet. The adjacent mountain is nearly 9,000. The summit is the highest point in Ventura County, Mount Pinos, and it's covered in pine trees. This is the studio of Barbara Bouman J., and we've been invited to take a tour. Hi, Barbara. Thanks for letting us in.
Hey, Ned. Thank you for that good introduction to Muse Ranch. When we checked out this property in 2004, we immediately were drawn to the remoteness, the vast amount of open space surrounding the pastures and across the valley. The outbuildings on the property were perfect for setting up a studio. And of course, there was the quietness and the beauty of the land. So we purchased the place. After being here a few weeks, we knew we had a unique and inspirational place to be. We liked the idea of a force or a muse that could inspire us and preside over the arts that we were creating. So, and we also wanted to name our place. So what could be better than Muse Ranch?
I see that you're in your studio today, 1,300 square feet, pretty big place, and maybe you could take us around and give us a look.
Well, thank you. I would love to show you around. This is the interior of my studio. It's showing the shelving that I have from Home Depot. It's also showing you the work areas that I have, whether it be for framing or painting. I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of shelves so I can hide things away. And it also houses my press, which is a tackage press with a 40 by 72 inch bed. It has space for my brayers and my inks and my rollers and the chemicals that I need to use to create the monotypes, which is a one-of-a-kind print with no additions or multiples. And I have many table surfaces that I can dry my pieces on and work on them directly. I also am very fortunate to have a vertical file system, and I have a photography setup station so that I can document all my work before it is given to galleries or sold at art shows. The storage for my encaustics is right below my window. And then I have a system of old graphic display stands that I hang work that is used for drying. I can inspect the work. I can see my works in progress. And I can also see how pieces relate to each other.
When you set up your studio originally, 1,300 square feet, did you ever come to the point where you thought, maybe I want some more room?
Yes, you can. There's always need for more room, but more room means more things to handle. So, thank you. Did you have another question you wanted to ask me?
Well, I was just wondering how long it took you to design the studio to get everything really the way you wanted it.
Oh, well, that's happened. We've been here 15 years, and so it's a slowly evolving thing, just like my studio is.
Well, let's take a look at some of your completed work and describe some of your techniques for us.
Certainly. Right now you're looking at two monotypes. There is no addition to a monotype. It's a full bleed. You can see that I use a limited color palette, and this gives the pieces the ability to hang together and support each other, although each piece stands alone. Also, all my works are non-representational. This particular piece that you're looking at is very soft. It's understated in its content. It is not very contrasty. Whereas this piece is stronger and more contrasty than the previous pieces. They are monotypes, but they're mounted to panels. whereas a piece like this is a more traditional approach to the monotype with a margin, and the signature is on the art front.
Over the years, how has your style developed? How have you changed?
Well, I have always been working in a secco process, which is what the red piece that you're looking at right now is. It is overall, it's a subtle implied texture. There's no specific focus to the piece. You start looking in the smaller areas, whereas a piece like this, the composition is broken up into rectangular shapes, and it's a very highly textured piece. This piece incorporates silver leaf, and it makes a nice complement to the dark and white and the gray. When you look at a piece, another Osseco piece, you are seeing strong vertical stripes that help to carry you through the piece. And then, of course, this is a grouping that someone can purchase as a single piece or as an entire grouping to make a larger statement.
Oh,
The
wow.
squares in my pieces really represent my years from living in West Africa, where I seem to be intrigued by the mystery of all of the open spaces in all of the compounds. And so when you look at these spaces, you feel that there's something that you're not understanding or it's not visible. So there's an element of mystique to those pieces.
Watching an artist work has always fascinated me. Can you show us how you begin and even finish a piece of your work?
Absolutely. So right here, I am prepping a panel for a painting. I pour plaster on a painting. Then when it sets up, I sand it outside and do the finishing sanding inside in order to make the surface completely smooth and absorbing. I sand it, I wipe it, and then I take dry pigment, mix it with water, so it's water-based solution, and I apply that to the panel so that there's a basis for the future of the oil painting. So I start with just pigments, and then I move into oil painting, and after the oil painting is evolving, then I start to add cold wax to the oil paint. So right now I'm simply applying my base layer, and I usually work on several pieces simultaneously. I like to allow a dialogue to develop among my pieces where I can explore both content and experimental and deliberate actions. My content is never representational. It's always a response to the subconscious and the conscious movements. I act upon impulse and intuition, and together they give me an awareness of keeping things in a stylistic, cohesive feeling. The piece I'm working on right now is it's an almost finished piece. And of course, I'm working with small brushes right now. However, the paint is applied with large brushes and spatulas and different tools. But the question I find is, when is a piece done? And I have to give enough information to the viewer, but not to overwork a piece. So even though there's mostly large areas are complete, I take a razor blade and I do some minor adjusting, removing some of the wax with the razor. But because I don't fix a piece after it's done, the monotype allows me to inform my paintings, and the paintings inform my monotypes in terms of a stylistic presentation.
When someone looks at your work, what do you hope the viewer sees in that finished piece? And where can someone go to see more of your work?
Okay, So basically, when someone is approaching my work, I want them to respond to what it is that they are seeing, whether it be the texture or the composition. I want to capture their interest and appreciation of order by using strong verticals and horizontals, as well as rectangular shapes. And there's a lot of unpredictable occurrences from the way the paint is applied. I'm also hoping to lead someone's mind to an awareness of the minimal narrative content, making the time and the place familiar, but really not very determinable. My pieces are not literal, they are not abstracted, they are what's called process driven, meaning that they evolve from one action to another. They are contemplative, whether they're subtle, there's quiet colors or vibrant hues. I don't feel my pieces are busy or entertaining, but when someone is looking at my pieces, they shift their focus from the structure and color to the subtleties of layering and texturing. And I like to think that they are more or less a balance of intellect and senses. So I have no real deep or elegant explanations for my work. It really just is. So if someone wanted to see my work, though my 2020 art festivals have been canceled or postponed, there is opportunity to view and purchase works through my website or my Instagram account, which is Barbara Bouman J. I also show on Instagram Art Show Artists, and soon to be my YouTube channel. I also have 3 galleries that currently carry my work, and they also are listed on my website. And just like me and many of the other artists, they too are feeling the results of social distancing and quarantining. So we all welcome interest and support from our patrons and the public.
Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to show us around and to show us your work and to show us the heart and the soul behind it. And this has been a lot of fun, Barbara. Thank you so much.
Oh, I appreciate it. I welcome you to my studio. Come and see me sometime in real life.
Oh, that is something I would love to do. It looks like a beautiful location. And
Thank
we
you, Nan.
thank you for watching the Thomas William Furniture Virtual Art Fair behind the scenes. And we invite you to see other artists on the tour. Take care and stay safe.